My name is Jason Manning. This would be Sean Scramstead, the Vice President of Midwest Communications and a radio renaissance man. And thank you for visiting 95KQDS.com and the KCube YouTube channel as we're here to promote the KQ Ultimate 15. This is the first in what we hope will be 15 videos over the span of the next 15 weeks, Sean, as we count down the top 15 classic rock albums of all time.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. This is something Jason and I have wanted to do for quite a while. We've talked about this over the years. We've done a lot of these kind of A to Z things, and we've done a lot of different kind of countdowns. We've never really focused on the greatest albums of all time. And there's different influences that went into us coming up with the 15 greatest albums. And Jason and I sat down, and we both came up with a list. And we didn't really argue about it, but we just kind of discussed it, really.
Yeah, and we're well aware that this is going to be subjective to everybody checking this list out, checking out this podcast, and going to 95KQDS.com. Hopefully by now you've entered your Ultimate 15 for a chance at that great prize. So there will be comments. There'll be people probably calling us idiots and how could you pick this, that, and the other thing. But right. Without any further ado, let's go to number 15 and this week's album to start the countdown.
1963. This was a seminal album for Bob Dylan. The freewheeling Bob Dylan, and of course it really relates a lot to his legacy of living in Hibbing, growing up in Hibbing, Minnesota. It's the time he spent in Duluth here. It really is it's a seminal album from him, and it contains one of his very biggest hits, one of the songs that really changed an awful lot of things back in 1963, "Blowin' in the Wind."
Sure, I think originally thought "Blonde on Blonde" would have been the Dylan contribution. Because you have to have Bob Dylan. If not, they're going to burn this place down if we don't. And then we talked about it because, Just Like a Woman and Visions of Joanna and all those songs. But if you look at this one, his second album and Blowin' in the Wind, this is the song that pretty much had everybody saying that he was the voice of the generation, which, he absolutely hated. It was his second album. It's the one that garnered him all that notoriety that before the age of 21, he was more wisdom than, anybody you could probably think of at that young age.
Yeah, I think, Hard Rain's Gonna Fall and Don't Think Twice, It's All Right,
sure.
Blowin' in the Wind. This has to be the Dylan album we feature.
Masters of War.
At least as 15, and maybe he'll come up again farther up in the top 15. Who knows?
He very well may. So, Freewheelin' Bob Dylan, number 15 on the countdown. And this is going to be a lot of fun. I think there's some surprises in here as well. And again, it is subjective. We get that, but I think it's a pretty rock solid list.
I think it's a great list.
So feel free to comment right here below, and we will see you again next week. Want to mention the KQ Ultimate 15 is brought to you by our friends at Music Go Round. We have our friends at Cars Complete Auto Repair and Service on board, Gronk's Grill and Bar, and Denny's Lawn and Garden. And we'll see you again next week.
See you next time.
Album number 14 on the Ultimate 15 Countdown with KQ.